impact.
Lisa, did you know there's an inflation report tomorrow?
That's what I've heard. And I've heard it's going to be really important, a CPI report to talk about how much progress we've made, and does this turn up the heat to raise the bar for the Fed to go again, or just stay on hold, which seems to be the desire.
15 minutes for Global Wall Street to stay with us. We're going to go to Kathleen Bostjancic, all her good work at Nationwide. But first, we get a briefing with Michael McKee. Michael, yesterday out on X. See how like I did that? There was a zeet from Jason Furman of Harvard University.
Man, you really adopted
Jason Furman. Yeah, my fever's down. It's under 103. I'm back down to 101.
Might as well have some more tang.
We'll have some more tang. Michael, he tore to shreds the math of Atlanta GDP now, 4.12%. Michael McKee, is it just a marketing series? Is it just a thing that we really shouldn't pay attention to?
No, it is a thing to sort of track where we are, but it only tells you where we are at the moment. This is just the beginning of the second month of the quarter, so we're only getting data from the first month of the quarter, July, and we've only gotten a half of that or part of that, so the number is not going to be based on any kind of end of quarter reality. So you don't look at it's sort of like looking at a presidential election poll a year ahead of time. I mean, it's not going to tell you who's going to win because you don't even know who's going to be running. But we can say that the Atlanta Fed nailed it in the last quarter. Their final figure was 2.4. We get 2.4.
Well, we're looking right now at the potential for year-over-year comparative figures that are going to be easier to beat. And this is sort of the key question that I have. Do you buy arguments that we could see year-over-year disinflation now, but it could be reinflation later in the year as some of the comps become easier to beat?
Well, I think it's a little bit different. I would put it differently because we're not going to see probably disinflation now because we have such easy comparisons to last year. Last year there was zero inflation. Inflation was measured at zero on a month-over-month basis in July of last year. So any inflation is going to push the year-over-year number up, which is why we are anticipating a slight jump up to 3.2%, 3.3% for the month of July compared to 3% in June. But after that, we don't know for sure what the impact of energy prices is going to be on the headline. It is going to have an effect going into the next months. We'll see headline inflation go up, but everybody's going to be, the Fed is going to be focused on the core. And one of the things that we are looking at is instead of the year over year, you look at the month over month to see if progress continues to be made. And we've come down a lot from the 0.5, 0.4 numbers on a month-over-month basis to 0.2 last month. 0.2 is what's forecast for this month. The Fed would see that as progress.
Some people will say that in the housing market, which accounts for a significant portion of the CPI, you are seeing the cool down more broadly in rents, even though some people say you have seen a bottoming out. You haven't seen a reacceleration. How much in the housing sector, as well as in the auto price sector, some of the key features in the CPI report and in the core, how much does that seem to be stable and in a stable way, staying fairly constant and not really rising?
Well, they're not rising anymore. They are falling, and that should be some good news overall and help push the core down some. Used car prices at the wholesale level, everybody looks at the Manheim auto auctions people data, they're down 11.6% on a year-over-year basis. So we're anticipating used cars will push down on it. Housing has been going down. It's been what everybody's been waiting for, but it's been very, very slow. And to get back to your earlier question, Lisa, because there's nothing for sale, home prices have gone up. And now, with what we've seen in the bond market over the last week, mortgage costs are way up again. So that'll take a year to get into the system, but it does present some inflation down the road.
Wanted to go. You and Kathleen Bostjancic are fancy people, and you're looking at 3-month annualized in 1 year and trim mean Dallas and all that. Our listeners and viewers, they don't look at it like that. To them, it's 2-year inflation or 4-year inflation. I've got the 8-quarter moving average of pandemic inflation, lofty. This is headline inflation, 6.6%, which I think feels to the angst of all the mail I get from our listeners and viewers. They seem almost unattached to you and Bostjancic about what price change is doing.
Well, we're sitting here talking about whether prices are going up or down in a month and whether they went up 0.2%. The average person is going to the grocery store or to the department store and saying, these prices are higher than they were a year ago.
Or 2 years ago.
And when we talk about disinflation, we're talking about the rate of inflation going down. We're not talking about people actually cutting prices. I mean, it'd be nice if we did, but people are not cutting prices. So people are looking at what it used to be, because they haven't gone back to school shopping since last summer. So now they look at what school clothes cost. I'm sure Lisa's doing that. And they're saying, we've got inflation.
I'm going to suggest for President Biden and President Trump, 6.6% 2-year headline inflation is the emotion that's out there. We'll have all that data and the excellence of Michael McKee for you